Order. Start with the I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Chairman and members of the audience, please remain standing this evening for a moment of silence for Patricia Leonard Rollins, paraprofessional, passed away recently. May she rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, we'll ask the superintendent to call the attendance, please.
Ms. Chisholm.
Here.
Ms. Cormier.
Present.
Ms. Crowley.
Present.
Mr. Lipset. Present. Mr. Mulrennan.
Present.
Dr. Wells.
Here.
Mr. Kissel.
Here. All right, I need approval of the minutes from 11/14/23.
So moved, Mr. Chair. Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Also approval for the 11/29/23 minutes as well, please.
Same action?
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Next up is the public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address the school committee at this time? Dave?
See, Chris, I was quick. I got my family out of here. So.
Yeah.
We'll just be asking questions.
Just state your name and, actually, don't do your address.
I'm Dave Kissel. I'm Chris Kissel's youngest son. I'm just going to say a few words. When my dad first told my family he was going to run for school committee, I thought it was fun. I was 10 years old and I felt like, wow, my dad's going to be the president. Well, it was fun until my brother and I very quickly turned into the world's youngest marketing firm. We walked almost every street in Woburn handing out flyers to every house we saw. On top of that, when I got my driver's license, my first car was a gold minivan with a bright blue Chris Kissel bumper sticker on the back. Not quite the definition of cool. But in exchange for my young ego and some light cardio, the Woburn school system gained a tremendous asset. As a lifelong resident, Lions Club member, business owner, school committee member, and father to 2 Woburn students, my dad has always had a deep commitment to the community and its people. If he could make a difference to one family or one student, he would have achieved his goal. But in the last 18 years, I know it was many more than that. Dad, while your time with the committee is ending, I know you'll continue to serve the city in any way you can. Your family is extremely proud of you, and you should be extremely proud of yourself. I'll always remember what a wise man once told me. It's all about the kids.
Nice, very good. You'll get
Thanks,
it.
Dave.
Who wrote that for him?
You want to go recess?
No, I'm good. All right. As they depart. Don't forget my gift. All right, so I don't think Charles Viola is here this evening. I think they have committee meetings at the City Hall, so we do have him on the agenda, but he's not here. I do have student rep, Brandon.
I'm up.
Yep,
The
you're up.
boys basketball team kicks off their season today at 6 o'clock in Stoneham. Also, the girls hockey team won their season opener against Medford. Meanwhile, the boys hockey team begins their season also in Stoneham tomorrow. Progress reports go out this Friday. Also, this Friday is the senior holiday dance, which starts at 7 o'clock. And also, DECA is here tonight. DECA has 2 field trips planned. One was today for select individuals, and tomorrow for the club as a whole. As I round off tonight, I'd like to thank Joe Wells and Chris Kissel for their years of dedication
John and Joe.
Although Joe too, but
Joe.
Joe Wells and Chris Kissel for their years of dedication and public service. On behalf of me and Principal Rasmussen, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
for conveying that.
Excellent.
Okay.
Any comments, questions for Brandon? Good. Thank you very much.
have a good Christmas.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, Brandon.
Next up is the reports and presentations of the superintendent and staff, starting with the Woburn Memorial High School DECA Club with the advisor, Miss Keenan. Is she here?
Yeah.
She's here.
At this time, Ms. Keena, the DECA Club has been at Woburn Memorial High School, I believe, for 6 years, and is here to do a presentation of their activities. Do you need more chairs? We can get more chairs for you.
So I brought 4 kids with me today. 3 are seniors, and 1 is a junior, my own son. I made him come. A few of them had a long day today because they did have the field trip today, and it is a long day. So they're just going to tell you a little bit about what DECA is and some information about what we're asking in general. Obviously not immediate kind of an ask, but just kind of over time, things that we could use help with. So we have Matt, Mike, Owen, and Bobby, and they're going to help and talk about it. They've all been doing DECA for several years, and they're going to each tell you a little bit about different pieces of it. I'll hop in a little bit in the middle as well.
Are you comfortable standing, or would you like
some chairs.
Do you want chairs?
You do need to speak into the microphones for the cable
Yeah.
TV to be loud and clear.
Prefer we get chairs?
Yeah, probably,
Whatever
because
you're
it's just,
comfortable with.
My voice carries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Your inside voice.
Chairs. More comfortable that way. Thank you, everyone. It's community effort.
Teamwork.
yeah.
Yeah, that's much better.
Yeah.
Now you can take a
Chill.
deep breath.
Yeah, speak into that, so you, good job.
So those are some pictures from last year at states and at international competition. I realized I'm a terrible picture taker. I realize this every year. That is the only picture we have of everyone dressed up at internationals last year. Every other picture, they're casual and having fun because there's a lot of fun involved, even though there's a lot of conference and whatever. So the one good picture I have of everyone dressed up. But actually, Owen, Mike, and Bobby are all in that picture. So yes, they all went to internationals last year too. This year Matt's going to join me. I don't know how we progress the slides. But you guys have them. Okay. This one first. Okay. So we should go to the next slide.
So, what is DECA? DECA originally stood for Distributive Education Clubs of America. However, the group now calls itself an Association of Marketing Students. DECA prepares emerging leaders and entrepreneurs for careers in marketing, finance, hospitality, and management in high schools and colleges around the world. The program is designed to give real-world experience to students as we compete in front of judges and, expand our business knowledge.
Just let us know when you're ready.
DECA competitive events are split into 3 categories. Firstly, we have role plays and case studies. Secondly, we have prepared projects. And thirdly, we have online stimulations.
So DECA actually does multiple community service options. Last year, this is a picture from last year when we had a booth at the tree lighting in which we had a toy drive. We do things like that, the food drive, Thanksgiving baskets, so many things like the Tanner Closet, which is very prominent in our school, and all those type of things. You can go next.
We actually went to the assisted living again.
Oh, yeah, this
past
Saturday.
weekend and volunteered. And they did karaoke with some of the residents and bingo, so they had fun.
And for students, we say why DECA, and there's a lot of obvious things like leadership development, business knowledge, networking opportunities, problem solving and strategy skills, and versus public speaking. And it looks good for college, but DECA is not only a club, it's an experience. You go, you're able to network with others, you're able to kind of really take a feel on what it would be in the real world if you were able to go into a business world. And we also have a bunch of students who don't want to go into business, but feel that the experience is good for them because it helps with public speaking and just becoming an overall better person with other people. It is year 6 of our club. It has grown to over 100 members. This year we have about 110.
Yeah, 113.
113. But it is, a very growing club that grows pretty fast, pretty quick, with a lot of students who are involved in it.
So we're going to move on to the competitions. This is a picture from last year. We haven't got the pictures from this year yet, but 2 of the kids that won last year with their medals. That's next slide. So I'm going to sort of talk about this because I wanted to add some stuff in, and I didn't tell the kids what I wanted to add in today. But on top of the competitions we actually had a a group of students, 3 of them are here, that started a nonprofit. And they went to a competition called the Difference Maker at UMass Lowell, and they presented their pitch. It's almost like a Shark Tank kind of a thing. They presented their pitch to this group of people called the Difference Maker group at Lowell. I don't know what the group is, but it's engineering, it's just helping in your community, and they did their pitch for their Inclusive Eats. They started a nonprofit, so they were actually in the process of getting a 501c3 approved. There was 10 groups that were selected to go, and they came in second overall, and they won $300, which is for their company, which is awesome. So they were really great opportunities for them to get up and speak in front of all different, people, which is awesome, and it's a great experience for them. And then we also have the competition. So today we had our first of the 2 district competitions. Usually it's one day. This year it was 2 because our district grew to 1,600 people, and they just could not fit that many in the venue. So today we had 880 kids throughout our district that competed. We brought 7 kids, and we ended up with 22 that moved on. So they did awesome today. Yeah, they did amazing. The district competition is the top 7 in each category go on. We had several kids that actually placed it number 1 in their group, which is awesome. Next one tomorrow is for the teams. So there's only 8 competitions for teams, but there's 80 kids going. So a lot of kids like to do teams, so they just feel a little more comfortable and they have someone to bounce things off of. So we have Matt's going tomorrow with his partner. Last year, I think they literally had the top set. 6 went on, and they came in like 7. So this year, he's determined to do it. And we had a lot of kids like that last year that just missed placing. But when you go for teams, you have like 40 teams you're competing against. It's a lot of kids. So it is a little harder for them to make it with the teams just because of the sheer number of kids that compete in that. So then after that, the top 7 go on to States. States is at the Copley Marriott. It's the same place every year. It's really well run because the kids, if they step foot off the premise, they get sent home. They have cops, DECA police that go around, which for me is huge because that would be just really stressful. They can't leave the place. They can walk around the mall. They can go to the Heinz Convention Center where they compete, and they can go in the hotel, but they cannot leave the premise, which is very nice for me. Last year was the top 6 that went on from States. I don't know if this year if it'll be 7 because, like I said, it's grown so much. But again, we started a competition that starts on a Thursday. We go after school, and we come back on Saturday. They compete multiple events during the day on the Friday. They have leadership conferences. They have seminars they go to. They have just tons of different things that they do. It's very structured, very busy. They do have some downtime. They go eat at the mall, and they go to different restaurants and stuff. Then from there, we have kids that will place to internationals. So that's about 20,000 participants. This year it's in Anaheim, California. Last year was in Florida down in Disney, which was awesome. The kids had to the parks. But it was literally about $2,000 a student last year. So we'll get into the cost in a minute, but it gets really expensive. I can only imagine what Anaheim's going to cost just to get airfare alone. But we do have like 20,000 participants. We should have at least 6 kids going for leadership spots this year. We're hoping more through qualifying from competition. So I just want to give you a feel for kind of the levels of competition. And like I said, there's other little competitions you have, like the Difference Maker one, that we try to attend when we can. There's a thing we're going to be able to go to Beacon Hill and see some of the lawmakers and things like that coming up in February. So we try to get them to do that as much as possible without being overwhelming, like outside of school too much, because I know that can get difficult for the kids, because most of them take a lot of AP classes and they're really strong students, so it's hard to miss school. So that's my spiel. Can we go to the next slide? Sorry, I talk a lot.
Right, just to go into the cost a little bit. As officers of this club, and we have all of leadership positions, we want every individual in our school to be able to have a chance to participate in these activities and be able to become a leader in their own way through DECA. But as shown, an immense problem that faces us is the funding that needs to go into it. As shown, districts is usually 85 plus per person. States ends up being $700 to $800 because of food and other expenses. And internationals comes up to about $2,000, which is very difficult for a lot of people in this town. Many individuals come from diverse economic backgrounds, and it's difficult for these people to fund for these activities and participate in them. We want everyone to be able to participate, but we find that many people, we try to endorse this club as much as we can and tell people to do it, But once they hear the prices, they seem to shy away, and we want to try to fund more as much as possible for these kids to help them out. But we do do a few activities to fund this, and you know, the next slide. These include products like selling pretzels and pizza, selling 50/50 raffles, doing bunny baskets, search ticketry, going to soccer fields and reaching out to businesses in the community to get gift cards and other things to fund the club. These seems like there's many activities on the screen, but sometimes it's difficult to reach the goal we want. So.
I'd also like to add something on. In pertaining to internationals, doing all of these type of things, you know, fundraising and stuff, we were able to get the cost down immensely to about $400 per person, but it is very, very, very difficult to do so, you know. And, you know, as you hear, like $2,000 to $400, you know, it may sound like a fee, and it was, but, you know, it's important to remember how difficult and how harder and harder it gets every year to keep asking people to participate and help fund something for us.
And I think a lot of times the businesses that have helped us, it's the same businesses we keep reaching out to, so we get concerned every year. We have a short turnaround from when I find out who can place for these levels. Right now, we have a while till states, so we have a little bit of time. But from states to internationals is like a month. So we have to do the fundraising, get our tickets, get our hotels, everything. From the beginning of March, it's about a month and a half till and we leave over April vacation. So every year I get so stressed about, like, will we get enough money to bring the cost down enough for the kids? And they have to come in and say, yeah, I'll come and do it at $2,000 and hope to God we get the cost down. And last year, actually, states ended up costing more than the internationals last year because we had the cost down so much. But again, we're asking the same people all the time, and it gets hard, and one of these days they're not always going to be able to do it. So that's a concern.
And I think you may be, sorry, and you may be wondering, how can you help DECA? How can you help fund DECA? And right now, the only funding we get from the school and admin support is for the buses. And we would really appreciate more help in the funding because, as we said, some students cannot afford this experience. That's really like once in a lifetime. It can really help them in colleges in their future. And to not be able to afford an experience like that, it's kind of heartbreaking for some kids. So we really appreciate some funding from the school administration, and we just need to get money in the budget for these activities, or else we can't really sustain the club anymore. I mean, we can't keep asking the same companies for support because, again, if they eventually can't provide it, there's going to be so many kids who signed up for a field trip that costs $2,000 that they just can't afford simply. And it's just, we love to have these kids do these activities, and we just need the money to do so.
We figured we'd ask early on since we've been budgeting for a while versus trying to ask the day the budgets are due.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Does anyone have any questions at all?
Dr. Wells?
Yeah, thank you for the presentation. It's interesting. Prior to the meeting, we were sitting, talking, and I was lamenting sort of, the end, but lamenting about the fact, do we have anything that we can hang our hat on in Woburn for academics? And this kind of strikes me as something that we might want to think about. Here's an event that is really academic oriented, but I appreciate the fact you're doing so much for the community. I was struck by that too. But I'm thinking this is a way, that we can say, here's something in Woburn that we're especially good at. And, we can get international recognition, state recognition, just by investing a little bit of money. It sounds like you've set the base and the foundation for this. But if we invest a little bit more, help you so that you can prep the students, because I know a lot of the success in the competition is how much preparation you do ahead of time, preparing for the questions, doing role modeling and stuff like that. And so this really seems to me, if I was on next year, I'd be making sure this was something in the budget, but it seems something, we spend a lot of money on athletics. Here's something, on another end. Academics is important, and, and we want to demonstrate our success in academic fields, and I think this is a real possibility here. I think it'd be nice for the curricula or one of the groups to look at, see what success you've had. We didn't go into like how your students have placed in the international state, sort of some data on that. But I think this is really something the committee should think about investing in. And then when we invest in it, we follow it to make sure there's a return on investment. You guys know about return on investment. That's what we want. So I think this is awesome. I'm so grateful I got to hear this.
Too,
Yeah.
Because we don't have, it's literally just me running the club
Right.
and just having, some of the clubs we see, they'll have almost their entire
Right.
club moving on.
Yep.
We don't have that because it's not incorporated
Right.
either into our curriculum. So
Yeah.
classes have a DECA class.
Right.
Where they literally do DECA
Right.
for a class for a whole year. So they do these written projects where they work on it in class. They have a test, they have to take a 100-question test. I'm pretty sure, I don't know, I have a CPA that I would not get 100 on.
Right.
So some of the questions are really tricky. So they have to prepare for the test. They have to prepare, they have software we can get. They have different things tools that we could use that we haven't been able to do. So that's another place I totally.
And I think we got to highlight this, this should be in the paper. When people place in states, districts, if this was athletics, you'd see that all the time. We don't see that. And this is
And I'm
something
not
we.
good at tooting my own horn and their own. I need to be better at that myself. Because I know if I send it to the paper, they would always publish, but I need to be better about
Right,
sending it over.
and
Yeah.
if we publicize it, then you can get experts in marketing. There's plenty of people in the community that could come in and help, give you lectures, give you tips on how to present things. So I can't endorse it more, so I'm not going to be here, but I hope in the budget time the committee will take it up.
Ms. Chisholm?
Yep, I think that everything that you guys presented tonight was excellent, and these are all things that are lifelong, and it's great. And now that Mr. Kissel is stepping from the board, he's going to have all this free time, and he's on the Woburn Business Association, so I'm sure he'd be more than willing to, help you out with your fundraising efforts, and make sure you get his telephone number before you leave. So
we
he'll-
have spoken at things like the Kiwanis Club
Yep.
and done things like that too, which they've actually helped us a lot.
Right.
We just spoke with the Lions Club, they're doing this a little bit too. So we tried to incorporate some of that as well. So
Yep.
I definitely think that's a great place to reach some of the community business members.
Awesome. Good job. You did an excellent job tonight.
All set?
Yep.
Ms. Scully?
What I love about it is this, when you
Because
think
you saw the
about,
baskets that your niece and me. We miss Leah and her basket, she's so good.
what I'm thinking about is this new concept of leadership in this embeddedness of social services and caring about the environment, caring about other people, but also working on your own leadership skills, coming here, asking for money. I mean, the whole thing is just a lesson in leadership. So I'm very excited about this. I'm so happy you came to our meeting. All of you seem to be amazing young people. I'm just so impressed. This is just a perfect thing to hear for our last meeting. So I want to commend you and everything that you're doing. The outreach to folks living in assisted living, to all of the outreach you're doing for the community, but also focusing on marketing. So I just love this new wave of thinking about business, but also that the betterment of society. So it's really cool. I can't, express my opinion about a future agenda item, but I certainly would like to see this in our budget. So I don't know if there's a motion to, I take it the superintendent's in favor since he had the item on the agenda, so I'll let things play out. But thank you for coming, and I'm very eager to support in any way I can.
So, Mr. Chairman, about the budget, what I would suggest is they provide a business plan for us to look, for the committee to look at in the coming budget cycle. Tell us what you need, what's our expectation if we give you that money. And then,
We just need a nombre.
no, we need to know what the result is.
We also need to know what they're going to be.
Yeah.
Keep financials out.
Yeah. You guys know how to do it, so I think you can present a business plan at budget time, and I would just have it for finance.
Ms. Chisholm?
Just on a follow-up, any of you go to school for marketing or finance? Any of your seniors?
Well, for me, I'm applying for accounting.
Oh, good for you.
me too.
Good for you. Awesome.
Mike, have you decided?
Awesome.
Nice.
Really good.
A lot of the kids start the club not thinking they want
Yeah.
business and end up really liking different, because there's so many more aspects of it than people think.
Right.
It's not just sitting at a desk numbers, and even accounting, I was an accounting major, but I traveled the world. So
Yeah.
the kids realize, okay, just because you're doing numbers doesn't mean you're sitting at a desk all day.
Right.
So we talk a lot about different career opportunities and things like that as well. So it's definitely a club where not only does the club, but the kids will take my classes and stuff. We talk a ton about that kind of stuff. And not only just going to colleges, but what else do you want to do? I have kids that have gone right into real estate out of high school that are doing pretty well and very successful. So there's definitely, and I actually have a couple kids from the club that just started their own lawn and, what do they call it again? What is it again? Rake and flake. So they rake and then they shovel.
Oh,
and they created
awesome.
a website and whatever. It's really cute. They've been doing a good job. I put it on social media for them, and they've gotten a bunch of work for it. And
Good.
So they're really. I feel like it's really nice to see kids, because you always hear like, oh, the kids don't want to do this. They're hard workers. You know?
Good.
There's plenty of kids that are hard workers if given the opportunity. So.
That's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mr. Moran.
Thank you, Chair. If I could, first of all, great presentation tonight. I guess my question would be, so you're talking about 100 or so kids for Woburn, 100, what'd you say, 31 or something?
Okay, 100, actually, 113 this year. Last year was about 120.
Okay, so when you go to these competitions, is that,
That's only the first competition. And then less go on to the next level, then less go on to the next level. So
Oh.
we typically only have about 20, or actually, I think we only had 15 last year. The max we've had is 20 go on to states. After today, we're already going to have about 26 moving on.
Okay.
And we still have the kids going tomorrow. So we definitely have done better at practicing and spread. The other thing last year we did was all the kids went into like the same event. And I tried to tell them to split it up. We literally had 20 teams competing against each other. I was like, guys,
yeah, that was my question.
come on, numbers say. So this year they were better about splitting themselves up to give the club more opportunity. Because like you said, I mean, if you have that many people in one event, only 6 are moving on. And we didn't have anyone move on in that particular event. I was like, no one out of like 20 teams. That's 40 of the kids off the bat that just didn't move on. So we do try to get them to do individuals, written-ins, arrowheads, and that's the place where they have to put in a lot more work outside of the classroom or work it into a curriculum or something like that too.
And it's very appropriate you're here this evening, because after you folks have finished up tonight, we're going to have our new Director of Finance, Mr. Alex Dizio, come before us. And I'm sure he's taking notes right now, which one of you 4, he's going to come back during budget time and ask for an Assistant Director of Finance, and maybe one of you 4. But this is a great opportunity. I guess I'll put you on the spot and ask you, of all the clubs up at Woburn Memorial High School, which I believe are about 60 or 70 at this point, why DECA? I mean, you come in as a freshman, you go to that, fair on all the clubs, and it's like, what am I going to do here? I'm just curious if you a thought.
Answer first, why did you do that?
We'll go down the
My
line.
mom made me.
I was going to say, Mother Nature.
All the
Well, in all seriousness, at first, of course, I started because my mom did it, but then eventually I really, especially the sophomore year, I really, gained a love for it when I started going to the state and international level, because, competing with other people and just having, a fun environment where you can also, develop leadership skills and, develop these skills is just, really fun to me. I really find that a good way to be spending my time, almost, and it's just, it makes me feel productive and good about myself. It's, a good way to put it, and I just love how the club conduct itself, really. It's just a great club, and it's a great experience, and you can't really experience anything else like it at our school, and we like to market that and, try to get people to see how much fun people have as well with the business side of it. But, it's just a really fun experience, and I think if we market that more and more people will join, and I think that's why we have so many members in our club, is because it's a fun time for everyone.
Right. On top of the leadership aspect, I think when I was younger, I think I dealt with problems interacting socially with others and speaking a one-on-one manner or here to a whole group. This allowed me to work on my social skills, and I found in my generation, a lot of us on our phones, we're not really interacting outside of video games and our phones and stuff like that. So it gave me this sort of entryway to speaking to others and working on those skills.
For me, I'm the president of 3 clubs right now, including DECA, but I will always have a special love and a special drive for DECA, because when I first started, I just did a bunch of community service stuff with Miss Keenan, and just, I went to districts with a friend. We didn't move on. We actually placed really close. We actually placed 7th when it was top 5. So I feel like all of those things kind of really built my love for DECA, because, it combined my love for community service, and it gave me that drive. I never really thought about business before, and it gave me, business kind of gave me that drive, that kind of mindset where I kind of felt like, hey, this is where I belong, this is what I'm good at, this is what I like to do. And coming here today as the president, I do a lot of things in which I never imagined myself doing the sophomore year that I joined. So yeah.
And Bobby came in first today in her group.
Oh, good job.
Came in fourth, and Mike came in fourth as well.
Really?
And
Good.
Matt will tomorrow.
No pressure, though.
No pressure.
Miss President of 3 clubs.
Yeah.
3.
So for me, like, while I've always been interested in business from a young age, like, getting introduced to DECA, like, made it so I can showcase my business knowledge in a wide variety of ways. Like, through the role play, through the difference maker events, through all the community service, like, all that knowledge I have for business, I can now, like, showcase, like, to my classmates, to judges, to, other, competitors. And it really made it so, like, I can apply this business knowledge in the real world. Because, DECA really helps you prepare for the real world. And these case studies that we are shown, they're not just preparing us for the classroom, which, is great, but preparing us for outside, after school, in college, I want to go into business, and DECA is a reason why I want to, because it really, made my love for business, present. So.
Great.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You guys are amazing.
All set, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Good. Any other questions at all? Point was brought up, I am the executive director of the Woburn Chamber of Commerce, so we should speak because I've just made some notes here. We do have access to a lot of fundraising training, different people that are members, business coaches, finance speakers, and businesses that actually will only donate to community or student-based groups. They don't necessarily just donate to other things. They've got a specific item. So we should definitely talk, because I think there'd be plenty of companies that would like to get involved, not only for training, but to help you with some money. Excellent. All right.
Go.
Dr. Crowley,
Well, I just,
sorry.
to the thank you very much for being here. It's why we wake up in the morning, is for you. And so, but you are also very fortunate to have Ms. Keenan as your advisor. We've worked together for a few years, and she's an advocate and an ally for your work. And so, thank you for your leadership. So, appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Have a great one.
Okay, you're off.
Good luck tomorrow.
Yeah.
4th or better.
Jay.
No pressure.
Yeah.
4 minutes.
So it's Jay Keenan, right?
Yes.
All right, next up, we're going to introduce the Director of Finance, which Mr. Mulren alluded to, Mr. Alex Fizio. I think everyone has a resume in front of them, and if you have any questions.
And so, while he's getting situated, as the committee knows, just as a reminder, we went through the search process. We wound up posting in early October, and then I went through the screened resumes and did an application process, went through a couple iterations of levels of interviews, and Mr. Dizio emerged as the finalist. One of the things, and he'll talk about it, that struck me is you weren't applying for a job, you were applying for this job in Woburn. And so I'll stop there and allow you to kind of introduce yourself, talk a little bit about why you applied for this job, your background, and then the committee probably will open it up to some questions.
So first of all, tough act to follow. I mean, you guys all kind of alluded to it. This is why we do this. I come from a business background. I went to Bentley College. Actually took 2 classes in accounting at Woburn High, which kind of sprung my love for business and finance. So it's great seeing how that sort of program has grown to DECA and something like this. I was basically a lifelong resident of Woburn, just recently moved to Tewksbury, went through Woburn Public Schools, K through 12, still very actively involved in the community. I coach the youth wrestling program, which is a K through 8 program, and help out too with the high school here and there, but honestly the youth takes up a good majority of my time and weekends. On top of that, I am a board of director at the Woburn Boys and Girls Club. I have been since 2019 there, and as part of that, I chair the Pot of Gold Committee, which does the annual Pot of Gold fundraiser every year. We're doing some sort of event this coming March, which will be great. It's the biggest fundraiser for the club. It helps children from all diverse backgrounds, which is a reason why I do that. Again, common theme here tonight is that it's all about kids, and this is why we wake up to do this. I think it's why everyone here is in this room, and I'm just looking forward to joining that team.
Excellent. Hey, Dr. Wells.
Yeah, so tell me what you think the biggest difference in terms of your job that you're going to in Woburn here versus the job you have? Like, what will be the thing that you'll most need to be new to you?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I think the biggest difference will be, for me, a greater sense of purpose. You know, right now, I'm the treasurer collector for the town of Bedford. It's a very different community than Woburn. You're not working with the sort of same types of people. And, you know, again, I just want to reiterate the point of the sense of purpose for doing it for kids. And it's not just because I'm sitting in front of the school committee today. I've actively been involved for the better half of 20 years since I've graduated with the Boys and Girls Club and with Woburn Youth Wrestling. So, you know, basically just using my skill set in finance, in Excel, and putting it to, you know, use at Woburn schools.
Any other questions?
Hope you're ready for a budget.
Ms. Crowley?
I'm just curious, you know, you chose the public sphere versus the private.
Yep.
And chose to work in government. I'm just curious what drew you to that area.
You know, great question. I first came out of Bentley and was working at PricewaterhouseCoopers doing multiple busy seasons there. You know, 80-plus hour days working in a basement, either freezing cold or, you know, too hot to work in. And it was something that, you know, I felt like I didn't really have a sense of purpose. You know, I'm like helping a large company sort of correct their books, but what I find is as an auditor, at the end of the day, even if you found something, 9 times out of 10, the pattern is like, make this go away. So there just wasn't a sense of purpose there. It was like, why am I going to work every day trying to find mistakes, and when I do, it just says, don't worry about it. So, yeah, just one day I saw an opening in Woburn, and it was something like, why not try to put my finance background to use in Woburn? You know, I said in the interview process, the only reason I left Woburn is because there wasn't much room for growth there. The current treasurer collector obviously does a great job there. He's years away from retirement. If I wanted to sort of grow and develop, I had to go somewhere else. And now I find myself in the unique position that I can grow and develop and come back to Woburn. So it really is kind of like a dream job, dream scenario for me.
Okay. And are you excited about school committee meetings?
You know,
This was the highlight that drew you, right?
if you asked me before that presentation, I might have said no, but in all honesty, like that, it's great seeing that. I can't say right now that yes or no that we have it in the budget or anything, because I haven't even technically started it. But it's something that I'm excited to find out about and trying to,
yeah. We got all of us.
Yeah.
That was great.
No, thank you. I really appreciate you coming tonight.
Yeah, of course.
Ms. Collier?
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Dizio.
Thank you.
I just wanted to let everybody know that I was not part of this hiring committee, so when I win pot of gold this year, it's not.
It's those 400 tickets you buy.
She has a few out there.
there.
You're welcome.
Mr. Moran?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Alex. How are you doing tonight?
Great, Mike.
I think, going back, recently, you just left City Hall, as you stated, Timmy's there for the long haul. I think that's, a prize for Tim, but I think, leaving and coming back to the school position is wonderful. And the dealings that I ever had down at City Hall, that office was very professional, yourself included, so, welcome to have you here, and I think, looking forward to a challenging year, especially from the school end of things, so, be prepared for the challenges ahead as a school board, finance guy, putting those numbers forward down to City Hall, because you must know where all the money is in City Hall, so hopefully you can help us find it all.
I can help you guys find it.
Thank you very much and welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
So, do you want to
Talk to us?
Yeah, I just wanted to, one word of advice. I was happy to hear you found problems when your previous job and you brought them to things. The best thing you can do when you're dealing with the school committee is the sooner you bring the problem to the school committee, the easier it is.
Yeah.
Even though we don't like problems, it's better to see them early than later.
Yeah, I agree. As a matter of fact, like my management style has always been sort of, come to me with the problem, because then we can work and find a way to resolve it as a group.
Excellent.
So we
Anything
make a
else?
motion?
Yes, we
Yeah.
do.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the appointment of Mr. DeZio as the Director of Finance for Woburn Public Schools.
Have a second. We have a motion, we have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Here you go.
Look forward to working with everyone.
You go.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Wait.
Yes.
Chris, there's just, if I could suspend the rules, we have a new visitor here today, Representative Haggerty.
Excellent.
Just wanted to speak to the committee.
So do we have a motion to suspend?
Motion to suspend the rules. Hear from Representative Hagerty this evening.
suppose.
We have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
It's nice to see everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know how everybody would like to do this, but I'm here to honor two gentlemen who are leaving this committee at the end of the year.
Who's that, John?
I can speak, I'm one of them.
So, first and foremost, to both of you, to Chris and to Dr. Wells, thank you so much for everything you've done for our city over the course of the last 2 decades, over 2 decades, close to 2 decades. It isn't easy. I mean, I've served in public life long enough to know, I've served at the local level long enough to know that it's a hard job. And there's a lot of long nights, there's a lot of tough nights, but there's also a lot of joy and a lot of things to be proud of. And the things that both of you have done to make Woburn a better place, to make our educational system a better place, to make it safe for our kids, building new schools, instituting new curriculum, being passionate about our community just in general, all of these things are remarkable. And a lot of communities aren't like Woburn. They don't have people who serve for decades, years and years. A lot of times communities have folks sit on a board or a committee for 1 or 2 terms and then away they go. But your institutional knowledge and the value that that brings to this committee and to our community has to be recognized. And that's why I'm here tonight, to be able to just say thank you, for the Massachusetts House of Representatives, and I think more broadly on behalf of our community, for your incredible and indelible service to our students, to our teachers, to the administration, to this committee, and to our community.
Thank
So
you.
I thank you both sincerely.
Thank you.
So I'd like to read a citation to each of you and then present them. So, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Chris Kissel in recognition of your continued dedication and commitment to the Woburn School Committee and Woburn Public School System from 2006 to 2023. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continuing success in all endeavors. Given this, the 12th day of December 2023, the State House in Boston, signed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Ronald Mariano, and very proudly by myself, Representative Richard Haggerty.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Dr. Wells. Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the House of Representatives, be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to Dr. John Wells in recognition of your continued dedication and commitment to the Woburn School Committee and the Woburn Public School System from 2002 to 2023. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all endeavors. Given this, the 12th day of December 2023 at the State House in Boston, Massachusetts, signed by the Speaker of the House, Ronald Mariano, and very proudly by myself, Representative Haggerty. Congratulations.
Wow. Yeah.
We have a-
Do you want to go get a photo op?
Oh, yeah, short recess for a 5-minute, 3-minute recess.
Second, aye.
Aye. All in favor?
Wow.
That's a budget or
Second?
something.
Yeah.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on, thank you very much, Rep. Haggerty. Moving on to professional development update, Assistant Superintendent Courtney Young.
You have a document in here? This is really kind of a mid-season update from the start of the year, and then hopefully kind of foreshadowing what we're going to be working on this school year to come back and share at the end of the year. This is a working document. One of the things that I am most excited for this year is the establishment of our professional development committee that is comprised of a group of 5 educators and 5 administrators, and we are establishing that working group that's going to be looking at and kind of analyzing the professional development in Woburn. We have started the year with kind of what we're working on, and then this group is really going to help kind of shape out the remainder of the school year and then really look forward kind of in long-term planning. But part of that group is really to be continually looking at the things that we have done and making kind of, one thing that I don't think we've done as much in the past is kind of analyze what we have liked and kind of keep this running list of things that should be continuing versus things that we shouldn't be continuing. So we're excited about doing that. In this document, which is the document that this group has kind of been working through and will be working through, just outlines for the course of this year what professional development days that we have, as well as kind of a reminder on what we as a district are required to offer. We've worked really hard to kind of streamline the focus of the professional development for the year. So, for example, at the elementary level, each of their building-based days are all focused around the implementation of the comprehensive literacy plan. So really thinking about kind of how are we bundling our time so that we're able to kind of spend multiple days on the same thing and not this kind of bouncing around space. Again, I have outlined the work that we're continuing to do with Melissa Orkin, with both the general education staff and special education staff. And then the last part is outlining what is the new portion of our professional development learning plan, which is our choice-based days. We've been able to have choice-based days, one at the middle school and one at the high school. Each level, our elementary first one will be in January, but each of our choice days, there's 3 over the course of the year. And the goal of those days is to be supporting there's 2 kind of big buckets for recertification. That's your sheltered English immersion and your special education inclusive practices. And so we've ensured that over the course of those 3 choice days, for those who choose so, they can get their full recertification, 15 PDPs over the course of the year. And then, again, we're trying to really check off as many buckets as we can, but what you can see from here, Ms. Ryan and I have been working collaboratively to provide a true choice. This is not only in topics, but also in platform. There's asynchronous self-paced, there's virtual options and in-person options, and again, I look forward to working with the PD committee to be making sure that all of our educators and stakeholders have enough options that hit their buckets. I think that that's a big piece of it. And so by having this kind of range of members, I think it will really help. But again, for your ability to review, you can see what we've offered so far in that choice realm, and this will continue to grow as we have the bulk of them that continue through the first of next year.
Excellent. Does anyone have any questions? Dr. Wells. Well,
the one thing, thank you for the presentation. I was just wondering about the books for the special ed, like sort of the titles or themes or.
Yeah. So what we did is, because ultimately you have to have a work product in order for the PDP, so we added 2 different pieces of that. So those who wish to get their 15 PDPs in SEI and special education inclusive practices. And so I worked with Ms. Ryan and the Student Services Department. There's books with students who are, I guess, protagonists with kind of learning disabilities. There's ones with regards to different kind of mental health realms. And it's really kind of looking at different special education student categories and being able to read it in kind of YA literature. We find that it's a nice way, I can only speak for you, but it's a nice way to connect and kind of bring it back to the purpose of the work.
Yeah. And then I saw you had Stop the Bleed. I think I saw a picture of that in the paper the other night at the library, so I assume that's the fire department cooperating with you for that training?
So we have been working with the fire department, and we also, in January, will start CPR.
Okay.
That's great. We've had a lot of really positive, we collect a lot of the other portion, which I should have said, is I've been collecting a lot of feedback, which I'll bring forward to the committee, again, as part of our process of what continues and what doesn't continue, what's working and not working. And I will say, we've had a lot of different individuals take Stop the Bleed, from those who are, were physical education teachers, but also kind of classroom teachers. And I think that it's been a lot of positive feedback in terms of really kind of that, something that they didn't necessarily think that they needed, but I think now that they've done it, are really appreciative of having that.
Yeah. And maybe, possibly expanding it to support staff, like custodian, because you never know who's going to be there when somebody's bleeding and needs help.
I had somebody say that to me, that like sometimes, and I didn't really think about it, but oftentimes I am the first person that arrives somewhere, and it's helpful to have the, kind of that information, that knowledge.
Yeah.
So again, great.
Thank you.
And I'll start just by seconding that on Stop the Bleed. I had the opportunity to take that training as part of my job, and it was very eye-opening in terms of what we could be called on for.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask quickly about the Professional Development Committee. Yeah. I see a really good range of staff roles, administrative roles, schools and departments represented. Could you talk a little bit about the sort of the tone of those meetings and the collaboration that the committee's been doing?
Yeah. So I've been working with the WTA leadership, so we've been working to kind of get the group up and running. So the group has not met, the group is meeting. And so that is where I say a little bit of, we've been building out for the scope of this year, but I have not planned out the whole year and hope that the committee will be able to support the remainder of the year planning and support for the following. But no, it's okay. I think that the big part of it is, though, is I think that I want to make sure that kind of the professional learning goals are kind of jointly shared, and that kind of we're all kind of looking at the same things. I look forward to having a group to work with. So I think it will be a good start.
But yeah, I mean, it's a great group in terms of the breadth of it, so yes. I'm looking forward to hearing that as well.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thank you. All right. Next up is the update of the superintendent's contract presented by the school committee.
Yes. So the school committee is pleased and proud to announce that tonight it is going to vote on a proposed addendum to the contract between the superintendent and the school committee, currently dated September 2nd, 2020. In October of this year, the committee and the superintendent decided to open discussions on updating the superintendent's contract with the school committee to meet his current professional status and to meet DESE recommendations. In furtherance of this contract review, the school committee and the superintendent engaged in bargaining to arrive at an acceptable contract that best supports the district, the students, the stakeholders, and taxpayers, and reflects the professional status of Dr. Crowley. The chair appointed Ellen Crowley, Colleen Cormier, and myself to serve as representatives from the school committee, the superintendent contract negotiation team. We met for several hours through multiple meetings, and it is the wish that the superintendent contract negotiation team to vote and approve the following provisions in summary to Dr. Crowley's contract. First, an increase in the yearly salary of 0.5% over the next 3 years. Second, an increase in the yearly salary of 1% for the term of July 1st, 2006 to July 30th, 2029. Third, an extension of the term of the contract to 2029 with option for school committee to give notice for the contract changes in 2028. And a change, fourth, to the yearly evaluation cycle as follows. A biannual rotating cycle of summative and formative evaluations, which meets DESE recommendations for a superintendent of Dr. Crowley's experience. And fifth, an increase to a 403B contribution of $500. We'll also be shifting the existing merit bonus for Dr. Crowley's evaluations in bulk to the end of the contract to leading the merit bonus from the contract.
Can I just clarify a date there?
Yes.
You said July 30th, 29, it's June 30th to 2030.
I apologize. Yes.
It's also 2006.
It's 2026.
The contract term is 29, then it's that.
Right,
that
that's the
sort
additional
of
year.
Yeah.
bonus
You
year.
said July
so to
30th, though,
speak.
so I wanted to make sure. I didn't know if he was talking about the end of the year, July 1st, instead of, just 30th came out in there, I just wanted to make sure we were.
It should be, it's June 30th, 2029.
Right, that's the end of the FY
I'm
29
sorry,
year.
but you're probably
Yeah.
saying the same thing.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Thank you.
I apologize if I
wanna
read
make
things
the
wrong.
minutes
That's
reflect.
okay.
Yeah, no, thank
Yeah.
you. Sorry about that.
So, the superintendent contract negotiation team is putting forward this contract for the committee's approval, and so I'd like to make a motion that the committee approve the contract and sign it.
Second.
Roll call vote.
On the motion?
On the motion.
No, I wanted to, thank the subcommittee for the negotiations, and, and heartily support this. I think, we're in an era where if you have a good superintendent, it's best to retain them. I think, looking out for the interests of this city, we realize how hard it is to get a superintendent, so we worked hard to make a contract fair for him, but also to leverage it so that he'll stay here. That was one of our big concerns, is we don't want to lose a good superintendent. So that was, I know when we were discussing the contract, that was a concern of all of us, because we realize how good our superintendent is, how difficult it is to find a good superintendent. And so we wanted to ensure we're going to have one for a number of years to come, especially with all the things that are going to be happening over the next few years. Appreciate everybody's hard work. Appreciate the superintendent's hard work and his willingness to negotiate.
Okay, on the motion.
And I'm just going to echo
Andrew.
Dr. Wells. This is obviously a really busy time, a time of change in Woburn, in the district. Making sure that we are able to have a steady hand of leadership going forward is, I think, a really valuable thing for this committee to do. Making sure that we are able to make Dr. Crowley comfortable in this position for the remainder of this contract is, I think, something that's certainly in the districts and in the committees and in the students' best interest. So I wholeheartedly support this.
Ms. Crowley.
I just further want to reflect that the older contract, which is the addendum is presented tonight, didn't reflect Dr. Crowley being more experienced superintendent. It was still in that novice stage of yearly evaluations, and it didn't quite match Dr. Crowley's professional status at this point. So this is a very good move for the community, for the taxpayers, and of course the students. So I support that.
All right, so that was on the motion, so we have a motion and a second. Going to do a roll call vote.
Ms. Chisholm?
Yes.
Ms. Cormier?
Yes.
Ms. Crowley?
Yes.
Mr. Lipset?
Yes.
Mr. Morenin?
Affirmative. Yes.
Dr. Wells?
Yes,
Mr. Kissel?
Yes.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So someone didn't print it out, which was me. So perhaps I think we can sign it afterwards, or.
Yeah.
I'm fine.
Just for the public's awareness, Ms. Crowley worked hard with our attorney to make sure that all the language was acceptable.
Absolutely,
Right.
yes. I want to note that council did review the contract piece by piece and did make an official recommendation for it
Yep.
on behalf of the committee.
Excellent. Comments?
Yeah, just I'll babble. I don't have anything prepared. But first of all, I thank you to the committee. But I always say this, I work as a team with a lot of different people. So to Maureen, Courtney, Jen, who are here, thank you for what we do every day. And to the teachers and the staff at the Woburn Public Schools, thank you. I think it's a great place to be, and I'm happy and flattered to have your support. So, thank you.
Thank you.
There you go.
Excellent. All right, moving on to subcommittee reports. Finance Subcommittee, please.
The Finance Subcommittee did not meet.
Excellent.
Slacking
Good
already.
way to end it.
Senior
That's not the
slide.
hardest working subcommittee.
Not anymore. Communications Policy Subcommittee.
We have not met, but we'll be coming back strong in January.
Excellent. Curriculum and Data Trends Subcommittee.
We have not met.
Wow, this is great. Personnel Subcommittee.
We did meet. Okay, let me see, when did we meet? Last week. But Superintendent Crowley updated us with the number of positions that are still unfilled. Classroom teachers that are fully staffed, however, and SPED has openings with the need for paras, as well as the HVAC position and facility is not filled yet. The GAIN program is in need for 2 paras. Programs that are housed at the following schools: GAIN at the Goodyear, Rise at the Harold Wyman, SOAR at the Malcolm White. And Linscott doesn't have any extra programs, so these buildings are in need of a greater need for staffing. The numbers at these schools may not be high in the classrooms, but the needs within the buildings are growing. WMHS, the principal is looking at course selections and how many sections are offered. He is looking into the alternative ed program. We now have 84 new arrivals with an anticipation of maybe more in January coming into our school system. But the HR position is in dire need of being filled. With the number of employees we now have and the amount of family leaves that are being requested and onboarding of all our new employees, the need for this person to be actively recruiting for us and to fill these positions that we budget for is tremendous. The subcommittee voted 3-0 to forward to the full board to vote to give the superintendent the go-ahead to post this position ASAP. The money for the salary will come from the positions not yet filled, and it will only be a half-year expense in this budget. So, meeting it was adjourned at 4:54, but that was our recommendation, that we give the superintendent the support to post for the HR position.
So is that a motion?
That we approve the superintendent to post the position of HR director immediately.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All
On
in-
the motion.
Yes.
Something that I noted at subcommittee, that I think Ms. Chisholm nailed it, but the staffing shortages we're facing, we need to grab people right now, and if we don't have an HR person to be running the show, then we could be missing out on valuable positions being filled. And so I think it is impacting the programmatic, our ability to run our programs. So I support this position.
Excellent. That's on the motion. Any others on the motion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
So
Okay.
post away.
Thank you.
You all set with personnel?
That's it.
All right, Resource and Capital Planning Subcommittee.
We did not meet, but I want to thank the Miss Donna Danisco and her crew, her backup singers, for coming to present the feasibility study in the public forum last night. It was a great success. I learned a lot. Every time I hear things, it helps clarify the path going forward, sort of. And so I really want to appreciate the superintendent arranging for her to come and the great presentation she gave. And I think the public can expect that we will be following some action steps. Mayor-elect Concanon mentioned that he will be forming an ad hoc committee, and we'll be going through the feasibility study with a fine-tooth comb to give both bodies of legislation some ideas and sifting through the information. So, thank you.
That was recorded, and it will be on the website as of?
So the presentation will be on the website, but the recording is the Woburn Public Media Center, so I'm
Already
not-
running it.
Is it? They already run it.
Okay, there you go.
Great. Wow.
Yeah.
So it's recorded, it's out there.
It's out there.
So people can watch it.
Excellent. Good. With resources? Ellen?
No, that's it.
That's it? Student Services and Achievement Subcommittee.
Yes, Student Services, we did meet. I believe Ms. McLeod sent everybody a copy of the email from the minutes. I'll be brief about the minutes for the public's use. It was, the meeting was held here at the Superintendent's Conference Room on 12/1, 10 a.m., and attendance was Dr. Crowley, Assistant Superintendent Ryan, Ellen Crowley, Colleen Cormier, myself, and Ms. Julie Cotton from CPAC. SSA update, if I miss anything, Ms. Ryan, or anybody, please chime in at the end. Staff shortage, big surprise, no HR staff, so we're running out. Many people out on leave, difficult to fill, just like it's been said here a couple of times tonight. Out of district, very high as usual, wait list with the same kind of issues as always with the out of district matters for the special ed. No assessment center. Staff of 4 would be a wish list for the assessment center. Again, ongoing issues we worked on for next year. DESI's implementing a new IEP plan coming out for September of 2024. Some issues, again, to be worked out with DESI and communities around. Keeping compliant everything across the district, changes in the portals for the parents using it. Ms. Ryan also reported that the half-days training works out very well so far, different trainings for different levels. Tier 3 training, attention, anxiety, SOAR, some of the mentions came up earlier tonight about those opportunities in those classes being run. Again, staffing being an issue. Grants updates. I believe we have a couple, the William James, along with the Cummings Foundation and Woburn Police Department, Pathways and Structures, Clinical for Newcomers, a pilot program at the Malcolm White. The I Love You Guys training program, which was held here on Election Day, went very, very well received by many groups across the district. And there's also some of these programs and grants through the William James and the Cummings Foundation are going to be offering free community outreach for the issues that we may find. We're going to work on a reunification plan in 2024. From CPAC itself, lots of things happening in 2024. Again, they're trying to get involved. Mr. Dizio was here tonight. They want to get involved with the budget development, as does everyone. So that's coming from CPAC, along with the transportation issues that we heard in the past from CPAC. Transportation is going so far, so good. And always looking for new members at CPAC for 2024. Contact CPAC through their website, email them, and they'll accept any new members for the 2024 season. The email from Dr. Altman's emails regarding a grant, we've decided, the admin has decided to not seek that grant because of the William James grant, which is kind of competing with the one that Dr. Altman was offering, and the William James Cummings Foundation and Woburn Police Department grant will be ongoing for years to come. And no votes were taken. The meeting adjourned at 11:25 that morning, and that concludes SSA. I think I covered it briefly, and I believe Ms. McLeod should have sent out the same email. Any questions?
Any questions?
All right. Great. Thank you very much.
Scarecrow, I'm going to miss you the most.
Yeah.
What? Scarecrow, from the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. What else we got? Yeah, I mean, anything else? Any questions, I mean?
No.
That subcommittee.
Oh, my God.
Correspondence.
Checked
Anyone have
out.
any correspondence?
Yeah, I'll take this opportunity, correspondence, just to...
I got one, too.
Yeah. Let's see how many cliches I can throw in here. All good things must come to an end, and my service on the school committee is coming to an end, and it's truly been a wonderful life on the school committee. I think back, and I want, think back to appreciating my parents, the instilling in me the desire for civic involvement, because I remember as a college freshman, I was sitting on our porch, I think, and I saw in the paper there was an opening for a school committee member because Corrine Mernon had stepped down, talked to my mother and father, and I said, I think I'll apply. So I ended up, this is the day when you had, I think my mother had to type out the letter. And dropped it off at the school, and, I was fortunate enough to be chosen after 20-some-odd ballots. And it instilled in me this desire for the school committee, And then, of course, when I went up for re-election, I lost, which, is devastating when you're young, but you learn a lot. And I've always appreciated people that ran and lost, because I understand how hard it is when you put yourself out there and you'll lose. But never could I have imagined that I would have served this many years on the school committee. It's truly been an honor. I've seen so much. I felt like I was the link between the old and the new, because I served back in the 70s when things were a lot different, served with a lot of great school committee members over the time. I think I did the count. There were like 25 different members that I've served with over the thing. And I learned.
Who's your favorite?
You are, Pat.
Oh, of course. I counted 21. My records were complete.
Yeah.
Who are your top 6?
What I really want to say is I've learned something from every member that I've served with. And, one of the first things I learned is that, as a school committee member, you can disagree, but don't be disagreeable. And I've tried to always remember that. And I think for the most part, that's worked out. I think we've had disagreements over things, various school committee members, but always I understood, and I hope they understood, that we each had visions. Maybe they conflicted a little bit, but in the end, we're all trying to do the same thing, as we've talked about. It's all for the kids. It's really all about the education. That is the primary goal. Everything else is secondary when you're on the school committee, and that's one of the things I've learned. The other thing is, on a personal note, it's been a pleasure. We're here with my family, and they've always been very supportive. But one of the things I truly appreciate, when I started, my second thing in the 2001 when I was running, my daughter was in kindergarten, and when I ran my last election, she was my campaign manager. And, you know, as I told her, I finally learned I hired a professional to help me with my campaign, and it helped. You know, I got the 4-year term, and that was one of the greatest pleasures of my life, working with my daughter, seeing her grow up to be a young woman. And she was so experienced in the field of politics and election campaigning, she really helped my campaign. You know, finally had a web presence and things like that, and that really made a difference. So all those things really helped. You know, my wife, she supported me all these years, because there were times, you know, where she would have liked it if I was home, and, you know, I probably should have been home helping with things at the house, but she understood this was a calling that I felt. And, you know, I always talk about our education. We shared at Merrimack College, and, you know, one of the things they instilled in you, you know, if you're given things, then you should give back. And that's what I've tried to do for the city. And, you know, I'll continue to do what I can. I won't do it on this level, but I will try to help the city as much as I can with what I have. So truly appreciate all the help of the administration, the superintendents, the assistant superintendents over the years. And finally, the reason I ask all the questions is because, you know, I give a lot of presentations. And I know if I give a presentation and nobody asks a question, either I am so clear and concise about the information that I explained all, or that nobody cares about what you're doing. And so I always felt like when there was a presentation, I want to ask a question so you know that I care about what you do, and I think what you're doing is important. And so that was one of the things that always motivated me.
There it is. There's the secret.
There's the secret.
Now you tell us. Now it's out there.
Yeah, there's also a little pride, you know, I like showing off a little bit. But for the most part, it was really to make sure that people understood when they came, because I understand, you know, they're excited about what they're doing, and I want them to know, I understand that, and what you're doing is important. So, again, thank you, everybody on the board. Thank you, Gene, and all of the secretaries before. You know, you've been so supportive. The superintendent, assistant superintendents, thank you for engaging with me. And, you know, our ultimate goal, as I said, was always to make the school system better. And I appreciate Mr. Kissel. This last year as chair, you know, it's been tough. A lot of turmoil, but he held up, and we as a school committee held together, and I truly appreciate that. So, thank you.
Well, I too have something to say, nowhere near that, but I will.
A couple of questions?
Just, yes. I just want to take a moment to say thank you again to all my colleagues, present and past. I will miss being on the school committee and being involved with the schools, the students, the staff, and the parents. It's been a great 18 years, and the schools have changed over those years with all the fantastic programs and learning opportunities and great people that work here. I want to say thanks to my family for allowing me to stay involved and supporting me. Thank you to all of the community for voting for me over the years. Thank you to my current board and administration. Good luck going forward, and I'm sure I will still be around in some capacity. It's hard to just walk away when you've been involved for so long. Thank you.
Oh, that's nice. Yay.
I guess at this time, on the correspondence, as a senior member sitting here this evening, I think Dr. Wells kind of nailed it when he said, giving back. I know we have the new members, Mr. Jesse Wetzel and Mr. Austin with us tonight. I think their turn is to give back, just like John and Chris has done that over the years here tonight. So I think after many, many years sitting here with both Chris and Dr. Wells, I want to thank them for their service to the community. Yes, it's about the kids, it's about the administration, it's about the people, but it's also you're serving our community at large. You're serving our students, but our administrators, our teachers, our staff, in a larger capacity that isn't easy to do. John, you mentioned your daughter helping you with your campaign. Chris, you talked about, you know, your son was here tonight, talking about putting a bumper sticker on his car. I think that's commendable that people want to do that in this community.
That was the only one, by the way, that was out there.
Yeah, there was two. It was on your car, too. It was on your car, too. But I think,
Still on there.
Yeah. Is it off the car yet? It's still in?
Still
I think, you know, that says a lot about, you know, you two both as individuals that you wanted to give back to the community. And you're right, John. Show your father and mother, you know, they're very proud of you that, you know, you served Chris, your community, your sister, your son was here tonight talking about you. Just like he said, he was, you know, a little kid. My dad's going to be president. Well, you're chairman of the school committee. You can serve for all these times, and you're giving back to this community and to the city of Woburn. So I want to express my thanks and congratulations to you guys. Whatever you choose to do in the future, good luck, and we'll see you around. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, you sure?
That's everybody.
Yep.
So the Woburn Community Education Foundation has a couple announcements. The grant program is now open. There are a couple information sessions on Zoom on December 18th, Monday, at 3 p.m., and January 8th, also a Monday, also at 3 p.m. You can go to the website to apply for the grants and also sign up for the information sessions. And starting in January, there will be professional development grant applications. As also, we had received a grant for the second year of the Caring School Community Program for $20,000 from the Winning Home. And so I was just curious if anybody had a quick update on that from the first year and how that went.
An item for the next.
Can we put it on the agenda? Put it on as an agenda item?
Yeah.
That sounds like a future agenda item.
Sounds like a good funding source for DECA. If anyone
Winning
from
Home.
DECA is, I'd apply at the Ed Foundation. I was on DECA. Okay.
Excellent.
I was going back to correspondence. On behalf of the Woburn Public Schools, just want to thank, I picked it up tonight, they say Chris and then Dr. Wells instead of Chris and John, so Mr. Kissel and Dr. Wells.
Doesn't matter. I'm Chris.
That's why Chris got more votes. He's more-
When you add up the number of years together that you've served, and then the number of meetings and your contribution to the Woburn Public Schools, I think the city and the schools are better because of you. And so, as a macro, thank you. And personally, having worked with both of you as chair, John, you're much better. No, I just, but genuinely appreciate your efforts to make the system better, and thank you.
He may have been a better chair, but I gave you way more flexibility and freedom. And that's always a good thing.
They each have our different styles.
Exactly. Excellent. Well, thank you, everybody, and
So one last, I just want to, they asked me why I was running for school committee when I was 18 years old, and I said, help reading education. And now I'm leaving, and we're still talking about reading education. Hopefully, when the next members, we've accomplished what we started.
We're working on it.
When I first started. Yeah.
We're getting there.
Yep.
all right, so any future agenda items? Anybody?
Yeah, the
And, what's that?
With the grant that you talked about.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did, so I'm just saying, back to that.
Okay.
So there are no more.
Next year, so we don't forget.
Executive session. We'll be going to executive session to discuss, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigation position of the public body, and the chair so declares. So I guess I'll
Make a motion, we go to executive session for the purposes stated by the chairperson.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Chisholm?
Yes.
Ms. Cormier?
In favor.
Ms. Crowley?
Yes.
Mr. Lipset?
Yes.
Mr. Morenon?
Yes.
Dr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Kissel?
Yes. All right.